Christian VII of Denmark became king when he was just 16 years old, but most reports indicate that he was mentally ill. For instance, he would often escape into Copenhagen at night to visit prostitutes and would often get into fights, allegedly one time with a club that he stole from the city guards. He would also leapfrog over people when they bowed to him, and he would often slap people in the face for no apparent reason at all. And one of the more interesting ailments, let's say, was chronic masturbation. But this was the late 18th century and it had been demonized by scientists, so it's not a surprise that they took issue with it. But he began masturbating so much that doctors began saying that this was the cause of his short height, lack of fertility, and even aggression. And his sex drive caused a bit of a scandal when he took a prostitute as a mistress, and this is when Johann Friedrich Struensee comes in. Struensee was a German physician who became Christian's physician on a trip to England, and on this trip apparently Christian entered Canterbury, and the last time a Danish king entered Canterbury he massacred the inhabitants. But apparently his hallucinations and self-mutilation died down a little bit during this trip, so Struensee was invited to come back and be the royal physician in Denmark in 1769. But in 1770 the king dismissed his chancellor, so Struensee became the king's closest advisor and confidant. But while all this was going on, he was having an affair with the Queen Mathilde, and many people believe that Princess Louis Auguste was his. So Struensee had the support of both the king and the queen, and the next year the king became unfit to rule, so Struensee appointed himself as Privy Cabinet Minister and said that his orders should be carried out as if he were the king. So Denmark for a while was ran by a foreign doctor, but he went against absolutism, which had been the Danish model of government for over a century, as he was pretty much just a product of the Enlightenment. So he helped introduce a number of liberal reforms, including the removal of censorship on the press, abolition of slavery in the colonies, and also capital punishment for small crimes was also abolished. But this angered the nobility a great deal, so the king's stepmother helped organize his arrest. Her son Frederick was then made regent, and he undid most of the reforms, and Struensee was executed, hung, drawn and quartered in fact. But rather sweetly, Frederick did draw a picture of Struensee a couple years later, saying that he had wished that he'd saved him.